Cargill Falls, Connecticut, circa 1980. Its old mills, tired little worker houses, and that constant hint of potato chips in the air from the Frito-Lay plant in the next town over. This is a passage from William Lychack's recently released novel entitled Cargill Falls. It includes a disclaimer that this is a work of fiction and that names, characters, places, and incidents are the product of imagination, and any resemblance to any of the above is entirely coincidental. But as one reads about St. Mary's Cemetery, Hurlbut's Pond, Beldings, Woodstock Avenue, Church Street, and Providence Street, it becomes difficult not to imagine that the story is taking place in what so closely resembles our and his beloved Putnam. Bill was raised by Mom on Woodstock Avenue, and while he has now settled in Pittsburgh, Mom, Alice, always proud and supportive of his literary accomplishments, still resides at that location. Adventures to Hurlbut's Pond, youth football, and Little League were all included in the growing up process, absent a father. He didn't have to walk far to reach the front door of Putnam High School, and the walk home from Putnam High's soccer field was also an easy trek, and it was here that he made a significant impact. While there is an impressive list of honors and awards on Bill's resume, the recognition that he covets most is the trophy that he was awarded as soccer team MVP when a senior captain. While he recognizes that other teammates may have possessed more talent, it was his desire and determination as captain that led to this selection. An out-of-school incident led to a broken, packed Ford van window and subsequent restitution by all those involved. However, it wasn't until many years later that a confession to the owner fingered the real culprit.
They took the van one night, and when they returned it, one of the windows had been kicked out. Not one of the boys would tell me who was responsible. They all said, yeah, it was me, yeah, it was me, yeah, it was me. The last trip home, Bill said, I have to tell you, it was me. I was wrestling with Russ Martin, who works for the IRS, and we got a little rambunctious and kicked it out. But I feel bad that I never owned up to it before. And I go, 30 years later, I'm finding out who kicked out my windshield. But yeah, so they were boys. They were typical boys. They were close-knit, they stuck together, and they still do.
His yearbook talks about his so-called communistic ways, but this was more in praise of Bill's ability to present his differing viewpoints in a direct and diplomatic manner. And he was able to accomplish this with a smile that was voted the nicest by his classmates. With assistance from guidance counselor and lifelong friend Al Cormier, he made his way to Conn College in New London, and it became a life-changing experience in so many ways. It was here that the passion for writing took hold, leading to senior awards for philosophy and creative writing. It was also in the library of this institution that a fellow classmate caught his eye and led to a permanent relationship with Betty. Perhaps his numerous trips to the school's center of learning were not just for literary research.
We talk about his sensitivity. His wedding was on Golden Pond. We were all there. And when Betty came out of the trees to join him, I cry anyway when they start with the march, but he cried, made me cry even more. I mean, he's just very sensitive. That's a good word for Bill. Things emotionally hit his heart. And when there are special moments, I know when they reach him that he shows it. Men seem to shy away from doing that. Bill doesn't. Bill just doesn't.
A nomadic life of teaching, editing, and writing followed his college experience. From the University of Michigan, where he earned a master's degree and taught creative writing, to the University of Minnesota, then back to Conn College, Lesley University, and Phillips Academy in Massachusetts, and finally to the University of Pittsburgh, which has been home for Betty, son Frederick, and twins William and Burgess since 2012. In 1995, Bill and Betty made their first trip to Burma. Since that time, an additional 15 excursions have been made to what is now Myanmar, leading to an attraction and fascination with Buddhism. So much so that Bill has become a Buddhist monk along with his son Frederick. His most recent project, Mission Wasara, is set in Myanmar and tells of his experience as a Buddhist monk in that country. While serving as an associate editor of Guidepost magazine in New York City, Bill studied and taught martial arts. It led to the attainment of a black belt in the sport, which can only be attained through winning and is considered among his great athletic achievements.
Being a self-disciplinary kind of thing, you know, the thought that you have to put into things before you take action, but he approaches his writing and his teaching the same way. Bill will tell you exactly what he's thinking in a very discreet and again, sensitive, I guess might be one of the words, only because I think he's respectful of everyone.
His vast array of literary works, beside his novels, include 2 children's books, a non-fiction about the history of cement, and numerous short stories that have been published in many of the top literary publications and magazines. Barnes & Noble recognized him for a great new writer's selection, and his novel, Wasp Eater, received an Editor's Choice distinction from the New York Times. Whether engaged in his own writing or teaching his students, he emphasizes the following qualities: honesty, clarity, and empathy, because he struggles to find such qualities in his own writing and teaching. His goal when teaching someone is not only how to write, but more importantly, how to love to write.
Even now as a writer and as a teacher, and he kind of lists them in that order when he describes himself, it's, you know, he has the same type of expectations of his students, you know, that they be thoughtful, that they be sensitive to the things they're doing, that they be articulate, and you know, just be who they are.
This tribute to Bill began with a passage from his novel Cargill Falls, and will finish with one. The character in his book states, "I'm always wishing that I could live here. It's where I belong." Then concludes, "But I wasn't cut out for things in this place. I would never be able to survive the Elks." As he has indicated, if this novel truly is the final written word about his hometown and childhood before he looks to move forward at last, the committee feels it is only fitting that Bill should have his wish of living here granted. It is where Bill Lychack belongs and will survive. Maybe not at the Elks Club, but certainly on Putnam High's Wall of Honor.